Hey everyone, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got a great episode. We're going to be taking a look at the new KelTec PR-3AT Defender. Should be a good time. Let's get you shooting. We are talking about the brand new from KelTec, a re-release of their very popular P3AT. I don't know about their naming convention. 3AT, what could that stand for? Oh, 380. Oh, okay. I got it. Well, we're talking about the PR-3AT, so in 380 ACP, P3AT, get it? And then it's a rotating barrel version. And look, there is no magazine. Well, there is a magazine. There's an internal magazine. There's no external magazine. You have to use what is affectionately known as stripper clips that allow you to load this gun, or you can do it by hand. You don't have to use the stripper clips. You can do one at a time and load it up. So it's an innovative design coming out from them, trying to reduce maybe failure points, or actually probably trying to make this as thin as possible and as lightweight as possible, thereby eliminating the need for a metal magazine or an additional thing that you're holding in there. So that's really designed for it. I did get the Defender series from KelTec, and it includes a Viridian green dot on top that is very nice and very well fitted for it. Look, it is very nice for the size of the width of the barrel. It does sit up a little bit high, but you know, it's got its optics cut and sitting down low. It's got that nice rounded top here from KelTec. They come up with some crazy stuff. We're gonna get this out. This is brand new, just released, and we're gonna get it out. We're gonna get to shooting with it, and we're gonna do some tabletop. I think first, why don't we get it out to the range and see what it can do. Okay, first shots with the PR-3AT from KelTec. I've got 13 rounds loaded, and it has a very unique system as we talked about earlier. So we use the stripper clips 7 and 6 to get our 13 rounds. Yes, you could then load one into the chamber and then push one in another one. We're not going to do that. I'm going to see how well this dot from the factory is sighted in. Unfortunately, I'm just now looking at the tool or adjustment knobs for the up, down, left, right to get this sighted in. I have no idea what kind of tool that takes. It must be something, and it's with the package that I did not bring out to the range. So this 0 will be what the 0 is, and it's our first shots with it. So here we go. Okay, so let's go down, see what the target is, and then I'll tell you my first impressions after shooting it for the first time. Okay, so this shot here, that was from a previous, I was still mad about that. That was from a previous video that, and it's actually probably going to be a future video that's coming out, but this giant hole in the paper is all from that. Now, I am only at 5 yards. That's pretty close. These types of guns, that's where they're going to be. Now, what I will say about shooting this gun is it has one of the worst triggers I have ever pulled in my life. It is long, it is heavy, it has an extremely long reset on it, and that makes a difference. So look, you're pulling. I thought, gosh, good grief, when is it gonna go? Boom, it goes. Slide goes back. And now watch our trigger take up. There's a first fake wall all the way out here, and then you're there, go again. So it's gonna be very hard to shoot fast, but as you can see at close range, you can stack them. It's a very pleasant gun to shoot. It doesn't have a massive amount of recoil. I would say because the ergonomics aren't quite as good as the Bodyguard 2.0, a little bit hard to get my third hand on there, especially with gloves, or third finger on there, especially with gloves. just doesn't sit as low in the hand, not designed as good as the Bodyguard 2.0. But I do think the rotating barrel is doing something to mitigate some of the recoil. So I think that's pretty good. And hey, results speak for itself. So that's 13 shots, not a single flyer. That's pretty good. We're going to be doing some testing of some other ammunition now that we have that out. And oh yes, I'm aiming here and it's about that much low at 5 yards, which maybe it is zeroed for 25. So that, you know, that 2 inches of drop, that might be about right because I'm up pretty close. So, all right, well, we have that first 13 rounds was from our Federal American Eagle. These next rounds, oh gosh, I'm trying to see. I can't really tell from them. And again, here's how we load it. You put this thing into here, and then you pull on the outside of it, and then you pull down. Yeah, I'm not very practiced at it yet, so please, I didn't get it quite in there. Now, you can see that this isn't quite as easy as inserting a mag, and if you screw that up in a self-defense situation, well, that might be what it is, right? So, yeah, so I think these are Blazer rounds that we've got going in here next. And, yeah, I'm just going to leave the other one in the snow. So we have, I think, 6 rounds then. And these are PMC bronze, is what I believe, 380 ACP, probably like 90 grain, 100 grain, something like that. I don't know. We're just going to shoot it for reliability down at the steel target over in the corner, and we'll have this as kind of our backup for it. So here we go. Hopefully you can see me. Well, we shot all of those. I wasn't shooting them well. All right, now I have some SIG flat nose that we're gonna put into it. Let's see if I can do it. This is the problem. If you just put some rounds into your thing and they kind of jank around and then have a potential to fall out. So that's not really a good process trigger bar. You really gotta load up the 7 rounds in it at all. Otherwise you start dropping rounds out. So put that in the pocket. All right, so we have, I don't know, 5 rounds, something like that, of the SIG flat nose. And I don't know, we are at, that's a 2/3 size IPSC target, and we are at 20, 25 yards, something like that at this point. All right, I think I just have some self-defense ammunition yet. So I have some Underwood XTP. Some of my favorite self-defense rounds, and we will practice getting it in properly. You go in like that and then push it in. It's not bad. It's not like I'd really want to do it under pressure, and I'm sure over time you could get used to it. It won't be as fast as a reload, but didn't quite go. We push it into battery and let's see what happens. All right, not bad. I am janking on it, but that trigger doesn't, the trigger is not something I would call enjoyable. It's so long, and then the reset is so long, it just kind of surprises you. Again, we'll see how we're doing. You can get better. You can, over time you can get better with it. Real slingshot on it. Gosh, I'm tempted. Let me take off these gloves, even though it's really cold out today, and see if I can get a better grip on this pistol. Yeah, I can get a little more pinky on it without the glove on. So let me try now. Oh, and it does not like the Underwood Extreme Defender like my Bodyguard, like a lot of people's 380s. Does not like that. Everyone says that's the only one to use. Now we got a whole cluster going on in there. We didn't get extraction. And so, yeah, well, this is kind of cool, is at this point, we're going to take the slide off. Again, if you have a malfunction, you're kind of screwed in this case.
few moments later.
So we got a cluster going on in there. We got one round that never extracted properly, another round that's trying to feed into it. So it's all having fun. It's a party going on in there. None of us are invited. They all tried to get in the same bed, and they're not supposed to be in the same bed.
2,000 years later.
We got the spent round out, and then we try to feed the next round, and it doesn't really even feed that round. All right, it eventually went in. Let's see if we can shoot some more of them. These are the ones that, you know, a lot of guns 380 ACP don't work well with because of that screw tip type design. Yep, got a cluster again. It's not going to work with these.
One eternity later.
We did extract at least. And there we go, we're out of battery. All right, we did that time. Not that time. Party going on. We did not feed. Now we're in. And finally, we're out of it. Yeah. So I would say that's probably a no-go. I'm sure you could polish it. I'm sure there's other things you could do, but I would just probably stay away from the extreme defenders with this gun. Yeah. All right, well, that's our first shots. We're gonna do a lot more testing with it on the channel, but overall, it's a good shooting gun. I mean, that trigger is quite awful. Let's take a look at that again. When we rack the slide, and then we do the long trigger pull on that, long and heavy, and then the slide reciprocates, and then here we go. There's one fake. There's a fake wall. Don't reset there. The trigger won't go off if you think that was a reset. Go out to here. There it is. There it is. And then you can pull it again. You can see that it is a hammer fired gun. Every time you rack slide, you got to release side release. When you pull the trigger, it's a double action gun. You can see this hammer coming back at you inside that window. Not sure if I can pick it up on video, but there you go. And there's some pros and cons about hammer-fired guns. I think one of the definite pros to it is that it's a more simpler design and probably a little bit more safer, whereas you're having your firing pin in the striker. The spring system is separated from the sear system, and so if you have tolerance stacking, SIG, you could have potential issues. So nothing bad about that, but it's a terrible trigger, like so bad. Yes, you can get shots on it. And again, what are you going to be doing with a P3AT? You're going to be using this for competition shooting. You're going to be using this for long range accuracy. If you're in a gunfight at 20 yards with a 380, you're screwed anyways. Let's just leave it at that. Right? This is get out of my face and I'm getting away, and hopefully by the distraction, I can get some running. Which may question the dot up there, but hey, a lot of us like dots now, and so, but you can still point shoot with a dot, right? You don't have to have, you know, find your dot, all that crap before you start shooting. You can just bring it up and start shooting, just like you can with a gun without an optic on top. But then when you go to the range, maybe you like that. Maybe it's better for your, whatever your variant of autism is, and that you like to focus on or have OCD on. Yeah, why don't we take this gun down and we'll take a look at the internals, because it's pretty cool. I think, you know, if nothing else, the KelTec engineers are awesome. And I love when James Reeves talks about KelTec, because like they're very innovative. But if there was a set of engineers that you thought, man, they're super innovative, but I'm pretty sure they've had some drug abuse in their history, that would be KelTec, because cool stuff, but just odd, right? Some of the finishing parts of it, they're like, well, I don't care about the trigger. Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take this down and we're going to take a look at it so that everybody gets a closer look of this gun, because it's brand new. All right, so here we are. We're going to take a look. Here's the better look at those stripper clips. The front ledge here is the part that goes in to the front of the gun when you are loading it, and then you load your rounds up in here and then you push in down. I'll try to see if I can show that in just a minute. But why don't we get to taking down this gun? It takes down in a really odd way. You actually pull the trigger forward. See that? You pull that trigger forward and then the gun will come off. As you saw at the range, I thought I might be able to do that when I had a round stuck in there. I couldn't get that forward. Look at this dual recoil spring. People say dual, and I've heard, like, sometimes you might think of it that way. Usually the springs are on top of each other, but not with KelTec. We have dual recoil springs, almost like a short action piston in a rifle. So we take those out. Those are those dual recoil springs. They are hooked together here. I'm trying to get some visibility on that. And then underneath it you have, I don't know, I think it's just, it captures the recoil springs, and then it also hooks into the barrel. So this is where the barrel rotates in here. We'll pull that barrel out now. Here's our barrel. You can see there is the cam for the locking portion of the barrel. And a very interesting design on that barrel. Look how it has all these lockup points on it. The raised ridges. And then it cams around in this, right? So as it rotates, as the barrel rotates in here, it's not very much rotation, but that's the rotation that happens. Instead of a tilt back design to come out, it locks up with the rotation. So instead of the Browning tilting barrel design, it's got this rotation locking. That's supposed to help a little bit reduce the recoil. I wouldn't say that this is a softer shooting gun than the Bodyguard 2.0. But you can tell it's doing something. I've definitely felt lightweight guns that have, like the LCP Max, that feel worse to shoot than this gun here. So it is definitely doing something. Is it as nice as the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard carry comp version that has the ports in it? I don't think so. All right, now let's take a look at the lower. This is where your hammer is, right here. And then it has, of course, the internal magazine. It is a 13-round magazine, and we showed that in the shooting portion of it with those first rounds. We loaded up 13 rounds. Works pretty good. And yeah, that's the rest of the design. I think it's pretty neat. Looks like we have some decent pins holding it together here. So that's our takedown. Why don't we go a little bit more into loading the gun and use of these stripper clips. So this just shows loading these stripper clips. I have some Honey Badger 380 ammunition. I don't even know if this will go into battery when I try it, because again, it's a screw tip type design, which is what we saw. So I probably would not recommend that, but this is what I have easily available on my tabletop, because we're going to be doing some testing at some point with these. So just kind of slide them in, line them up. You can get 7 of them in this way. And when you have all 7 in, it's pretty nice, and you could carry that in your pocket. What I was trying to point out in the video is that I was loading like 5 of these in. Whoops, I'm putting it in backwards. You got to load from the end that has the tabs. And put the tip of the bullet towards this front tab. So I was just trying to, let's just load 3 or 4 of these in at a time for my reloads, because I don't want to blow through tons of ammunition, especially defensive ammunition, trying to get the gun in. So if you only put 3 or 4 rounds, you can see it pretty soon is going to start falling out. But if you have all 7 of them in here, it works just fine. So why don't we do the full 13 load, though, on this. We'll show how that goes. All right, so I've got 6 in this one and 7 in this one. Again, you well, let's reassemble our barrel here first. So it's kind of interesting, right? That the front end of this has those grooves, so you got to line this whole thing up just right. Otherwise it has a hard time going in. And then this goes into here, and there's 2 notches at the back here. That's where your spring system is going to go into. That cam thing just kind of sits on there, so you got to make sure it's on right. All right. And there we have, well, almost. I don't know, sometimes this thing, it's hard to get it to slide on. It'll just keep sliding, but I just keep manipulating and playing with that trigger front thing to make sure that it's locking on there again. See, now it's locked on again. If I want to pull that trigger forward, I can get it off. But I don't know what the secret is. It's just kind of like, I don't know. There we go. Yeah, you pull it forward again, and then that seems to lock it on again. All right, so now we are set up. We'll lock the slide back. Every time you pull this back, every time you pull it back, it locks. You don't have to push your finger in. All right, so to put it in, put this, you go in at an angle, rock it in, and then you push down. So maybe show it this way. You go in at an angle, rock down. And so it's really not that much pressure to get these to load up, which is great. So there's our first 7. And then we have 13. So we have 13 rounds all set up. Very lightweight. Yeah, and see, it really doesn't like those. All right, we're going to make this gun safe now.
A few moments later.
Looking at the barrel and see how it's just a tiny bit of camming that's going on when you get that. See that right there? Geez, hard getting a view of it. Maybe this is the best way to look at it. Right there, you're getting a little bit of rotation. It's not much as it rotates from here to here. Really an interesting design. I'm not sure how practical it is, because as you saw, if you have a problem, you're kind of screwed. And, you know, guns have problems occasionally, right? I mean, even the best guns, Glocks, CZs, Beretta, you name it, Walthers, they all will, you know, you can have bad ammunition, you can have something, and then if that's in a fight, you're kind of done. The downside too is that, like, if it's so lightweight, if you're going to pick this up and chuck it, you're kind of screwed. Like, you don't have enough weight to do damage on it. Okay, let's just get some data on this gun. So again, nothing in this gun. So empty, it is around 10 ounces. That's pretty lightweight. Now it advertises at 9 ounces, and you know, clearly adding the dot is adding, you know, another ounce to it. So I think that's right in within specification. I want to just show a couple of things for comparison. So here is my Bodyguard 2.0 Performance Center. This has the comp version, so a little bit longer barrel than the regular Bodyguard. And without a magazine, it's 10.3. With a magazine, almost 12. So we went from 11.92 to 10.83. You're saving about an ounce. Let me check one more gun for you. Another point for comparison, here's the Bodyguard 2.0 OG 2.0, meaning not the carry comp version. Again, empty magazine, empty chamber on this gun. And we'll put it in, but it has the Monsoon Tactical Optics cut on it. This comes with one from the factory. This, you got to send it in to get that, right? So this is, you know, price comparison, this is definitely better value, but I don't know, guys. All right, but let's just check what the weight is on that. So 12.17 with an optic versus 10.8. So, you know, ounce and a half more if we're looking at for this one versus that one. That's we're not talking about much. I know ounces equals pound, but we're talking about an ounce. Yeah, so that's good. Why don't we now do some trigger presses on this? Oh, before I take away this, I just love the bodyguard. As you know from my channel, I can get that third finger on there easily and get a very high grip up on it. This is really well ergonomic design for the bodyguard. And the KelTec, it's great that they have that pinky extension built in, and without gloves, it's a little bit further down. I can't get quite as high up on it. And you can tell the bore axis is just higher on it, right? So again, just comparing, looking at these two, the bodyguard up top is a little slimmer, as you can see. The down low part, they're about equal. With the KelTec probably a little bit thinner below, but the bodyguard overall, I would say, is thinner. So just giving you side-by-sides, and then look at how small that Viridian optic is. That's really nice. That's a much better optic. And now they make optics for the bodyguard that you can put, Viridian does now, that you can put it using the dovetail, and it looks very nice, very well integrated. It won't sit as low as this dot does, but it's going to be smaller, which is nice if you're doing pocket carry. Of course, if you're doing pocket carry, you might just leave it like this anyways, right? But I also believe Gideon Optics is showing one like that too. All right, so let's try a trigger pull on this. Not try, we will do a trigger pull on this. And we have our gauge here. Keep that holding down at the bottom. There we go, there we go. So we came at about 6 pounds, honestly. Again, trigger weight isn't always the issue, but length of the trigger pull often is. So, all right, let's hold this down, make sure it's not sliding up and making this heavier than possible. We'll do this another time. I'm losing my grip on it. We got 5 pounds that time. Do one more just for kicks and giggles. And we got 5.5 pounds. So that's probably about it. So we got 5, 5.5, and 6 jumping all over. It's hard for me to get this on here, but it's not, I'm telling you guys, it's not a great trigger. If you're getting this and you're like, oh, trigger's gonna be awesome, it's not, right? It's not. But it's not super heavy. It's just so long, keeps going and going. And then the reset is just click, fake, false reset there, and then finally out there. Yeah, so, and then we'll just, you know, throw it for kicks and giggles, these other guns. We got the OG bodyguard. Now this gun has, you know, probably close to a couple thousand rounds on it at this point. So 3 pound trigger pull for that one. That's the non-performance center version. Again, it's worn in. That gun's worn in. This one probably this one has definitely much less, maybe just a couple hundred rounds on it, but let me make sure it's lined up. About a 3.5, 4 pound trigger. People have asked me, is the performance center version, is the carry comp trigger better? I can't tell the difference. Again, what you're seeing there is a gun that's well worn in versus a gun that's not well worn in. Today we took a look at the KelTec PR-3AT, their new 380 ACP gun, much like their PR-57. Does not have external magazines, has an internal magazine that you load either 1x1 or with stripper clips. It's an interesting design. It's super lightweight. They went for lightweight, and hey, if that ounce makes a difference for you, that's awesome. I would just be really worried, as we saw in the video, if something gets stuck in there. Like I had to use a tool to get that ammunition that was jammed in there out. That's not just a shake it out and you're back in the fight type thing. Now I will say it's pretty clear that ammunition does not work with this gun. So don't run the screw tip external hollow points. Maybe a G9 might work, I don't know. But I wouldn't, or ARX type bullet. It might, I just wouldn't risk it or even waste the money on it based on what I saw here today. I would just go with the Underwood XTP bullet, or if you want just, you know, your flat top FMJ, flat nose FMJ, whatever your poison is in terms of self-defense ammunition for 380 ACP. All right, with that said, hope that this was informative. We definitely will have it out more on the channel. We'll be shooting more. We'll see what ammunition it likes and doesn't like. We'll check out a variety of things with it. We'll see the robustness of this dot and the robustness of the gun. Let me know else what you all think about this PR-3AT. And I hope everyone has a great week, and let's get shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Reviewing each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crown. Living for freedom.